Sharks and the Dragons and the URC folks have played out a draw. 17 points apiece. I was not even planning to watch this one because I was thinking I'll watch the Ospreys go down and take on the Stormers. The Ospreys were pretty good value last week. Stormers are without a few players. Big win over Leinster. Let's watch that one, but I got up late. I missed it by about 30 minutes, and you can't watch delayed on the new URC streaming app. So I watched the Dragons take on the Sharks. I mean, Ulster and Edinburgh was postponed due to a storm, and geez, it was stormy here as well. I turned it on and almost immediately thought I was regretting it because rain, like driving rain, almost sideways rain. I thought, I'm not in for much of a spectacle here. And I mean, I'm probably partly right. The second half is less about like free scoring running plays, a lot of scrum penalties, a lot of line out errors, not going straight, quite a few knock-ons, but the conditions are horrendous, so that kind of makes sense. But it was a grandstand finish, and the Dragons could have won it if they'd opted for a bleeding drop goal. They weren't even looking like it. De Beer was in the pocket waiting for it, but they didn't go for it in perfect field position for it. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, but Dragons have to wait longer for a win. At least they've broken their losing run. And the Sharks, I mean, they're missing like 9 Bok players, but still they'll be disappointed. With the dominance their scrum had and the chances they had in the red zone, they probably should have done more. I need to say credit to the 4,883 fans at Rodney Parade. You guys are both pretty hardy fans to get out there supporting a team on a massive losing run in the URC in those conditions and to make that much noise. Very impressive. It sounded like more 10,000 people were there. Very, very impressive stuff. The Sharks, to be fair, were camped in the Dragons' half for ages in the vast majority of the first half. You thought surely they're going to score early. They didn't from their first attacking play, but they did on 8 minutes through Marvin Orri. It was close range phases. It was to be expected. The crowd, that was the kind of one moment they had gone silent. Like when the Sharks had mucked it up earlier, the crowd was right up into them. 7 points to nil though, and then like the Dragons, I mean their kickoff, the initial kickoff had gone out on the gone dead. Their next kickoff goes out on the full. Kicking off when they were playing left to right just seemed to be difficult with the wind. But the Dragons, man, first chance, first points. They were ruthless in the first half. De Beer with a sweet pass to a rampaging Wainwright gets them on the board to make it 7 points apiece. And the Sharks maybe showed a little bit of respect to the Dragons later on because the Dragons' defense was holding for ages by opting for a 3-pointer on 18 minutes. It did seem like the kind of night where you need to do that. However, the Dragons took the lead. It was a line-out attack. It was Paya with the kind of line break. He busted a tackle on Lorenzo Julius and popped the ball to O'Brien. And that made it 14 points to 10. Dragons are in front. Starting to kind of live the dream because they'd not had that much possession and territory, but when they got down the Sharks' end, they scored tries. Although, again, it didn't last because the Sharks went through a whole bunch of close range phases and that man, Vincent Chituka, was able to go over. So 17-14 lead. Another mistake at the restart from the Dragons, but it didn't end up costing them. So we go into the sheds. It's a 3-point difference. The vast majority of the points have been scored. And like the Sharks have had 58% possession. They've had 70% territory. Run meters is 102 to 93. So there's not been that much running going on. But the defenders beaten us 12-4 to the Dragons. They were more effective on the carry when they got the chance of 3 line breaks to the Sharks 1. So if anything, they were playing kind of the more attacking rugby in terms of not just recycling through the phases, but their scrum was getting pumped. And it continued in the second half as well. Honestly, the Dragons were unlucky that they missed out on a chance to kind of keep their try-scoring run going on 44 minutes. It's legitimately chalked off. Dyer out in the wing, and there's a knock-on in the build-up at the base of a ruck. Good spotting for the officials, but that one would have given them the lead. But no, and then the scrum from the Sharks gets dominant, but there's multiple times when the Sharks get piggybacked up the field with their dominant scrum and muck the line-out up. Missed chances from the Sharks will equally be frustrating. It was almost like deja vu watching the same thing happen again and again. Penalty at the scrum, kick for touch, lose line out multiple times. Dragons did end up getting a yellow card warning for too many penalties conceded at the scrum. On 61 minutes, they managed to stop a big Sharks maul, so it was an escape. And then on a few minutes later, 64 minutes, They slotted a 3-pointer of their own. The Dragons, only points of the second half when the Sharks were offside to 17-17. That is the final scoring. Who should win it from here? It looked like the Sharks had given the Dragons a golden opportunity when they mucked the restart themselves. And interestingly, the Dragons didn't opt for the scrum. Like every time a team kicks it out on the full, they always opt for the scrum. The Dragons were like, nah, we're not doing any scrums. And it was a smart move. They went for a line out, and the Dragons actually were able to get themselves piggybacked up the field because the Sharks conceded a penalty from that line out, but the Dragons then mucked up the resulting line out, so it was deja vu, the reverse direction. Jaden Hendrickson had this bizarre moment where he box kicked it, it went up, came back down to him in the wind, and then he kicked it again out on the full. I watch a lot of rugby, never see that happen like that. It was bizarre. And then Chris Coleman, not the former Welsh football coach, but the tight head prop, reserve tight head prop for the Dragons, did end up copping a yellow card for too many penalties at scrum time. The Sharks had a chance to punish, man. I mean, why not pop up a high ball in these raining conditions? Did an EC knock it on? Yep. Did it lead to a scrum? The Dragon guys should have just let the advantage play, but it led to a scrum. Scrum gets a penalty. Penalty gets a maul. They get another penalty. Maul time 5 meters out. But then the Sharks, I think it was Durento Julius with a big clear out way off the ruck, gives the Dragons the escape which they need. And to be honest, potentially the best moment of the second half, which was a pretty ugly one, is Angus O'Brien's clearance kick from that penalty. It's huge. It gets the Dragons way up the field. It did give them a chance to turn the screws. There was a potential deliberate knock-on call for Jaden Hendrickson on defence when they were defending for days, but the officials discussed it and said there was no time for him to deliberately knock it on. It was just a natural hand movement, so crowd was trying to cheat at that point, but yeah, nothing given from the officials. And the Dragons, honestly, you can't blame the officials because they had phase after phase after phase, up the guts, out wide, back up the guts, tennis the bears in the pocket for ages. They don't give it to him. They end up knocking it on very close to the line, but I feel like the destiny was in their own hands there. But still, brutal one for them. Neither side's going to be happy with that, but it is a draw. Stats-wise, the possession and territory finished 50-50, so the Sharks ended up having less in the second compared to the first. Run meters is 257 to 216 to the Dragons. Defenders beaten 28-10 to the Dragons. Clean breaks 5-1 to the Dragons. But their scrum was just getting pumped. Penalty counts 8, so like almost double. Yeah, nothing to do. Another side's line out. There's nothing to write home about. Inisi looked dangerous. 7 defenders beaten. He looks like a good signing. He was very good in Super Rugby of the year. Season just gone. Buthelezi made 20 tackles. Wainwright a bunch of carries. Marvin Ori got a try. They had 16 tackles as well. But yeah, weird ending to a game. Pretty ugly one given the conditions, but had a grandstand finish, which is the kind of sweetener which leaves you walking away reasonably well entertained, although it is that kind of one where neither side's happy if it is a draw. But you guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Subscribe to the channel if you want some more URC chat. We await the conclusion of the Rugby Championship tonight. It'll be interesting, 2 games on. But anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.